Hey guys, how's it going? We are off to go rescue a Volkswagen Beetle. Let's go. And we got keys that should do it. There we go. Light switch. So what we have is a 1961 Beetle that I believe got restored quite a while ago. And then the owner, whoever had it restored, it sat for a long period of time. Then he ended up selling it. Then the next person who bought it also let it sit for a long period of time. It would be like fired up once in a while, pulled in and out of a garage, but I don't even think it was ever registered on that, even on the second time. So we're probably talking like 15 years maybe that the thing's been sitting around, not run on the road since it's been restored. Looks like they did a nice job. Looks a really clean looking car, but it is gonna need some love to it. And I'm just gotta go do it. Let's go take a peek. He's got it registered. He's got plates for it now, which is good. I don't know if there's any mice or anything in it. Back seat's out of it. I think the battery's wasted in it. All right, well, let's go get a better look at my shop. Let's go pop the hood. Yeah, the plates that are on it say 2018 was the last time it was registered. So that's already 7 years. Again, I'm the second person that had, like I said, it would be fired up once in a while and pulled out of a garage. That'd be about it. All right, let's go get her back to home base. Let's go have a fun, see how she looks on the underside. All right, we got it up in the air. Let's go take a peek underneath and see what we can see. We're gonna educate ourselves a little bit. Usually that's where it tells the story more of the condition and the life of the car. Well, right off the bat, I kind of see, it looks like original floor pans. These are original welds that are on here. It does see that there was a patch here. The battery sits back in here, and then the acid kind of runs. So there was a patch done right here, but that's fine. A couple of dents, I don't know if they're showing up. Some dents along there. That is probably from a floor jack. People coming underneath with a floor jack and jacking it up. There you go, you can see them. Car didn't come with seatbelts. Somebody added seatbelts. You got a rust hole right there. The heater channels, then we move the light around. These are the heater channels back in here. There's a common place where they rot out. That one looks pretty good. A little bit at the frame head right there. I see a bee's nest. There's the bee's nest up there. Moving day. See ya. I don't see any rust repair in the fender wells. All new hardware put on. And a little starting right there, but I don't see any patches, which is nice because I think we're just dealing with it, whatever. I don't think there's any Bondo in the car. A little bit right there. The gas tank looks decent. It doesn't, who knows what we have for a gas tank, where it's corroded or not. Looks like it might have a patch. I don't know what that is right there. Nose of the car sometimes takes a hit. This is where the spare tire well is. Something looks a little weird right there. Possibly it may have had the tire well replaced at one point. Yeah, I see some, that might be Bondo. What's that right there? And a little suspect. Was the car red? See some like red paint right there. Or it could be patch panels off of it. Like somebody went through all the brakes and the kingpins. They all look like they've been done. And were never painted, but that would have much more rust than that. Let's go see the heater channel on this side. A couple little pinholes right there. And one right there. But again, it's all original. The floor jack, the jack posts are still there. Somebody went through and cleaned a bunch of stuff up. There's running boards put on it. You know, new stuff when they did it. Go back at the engine. It is leaking. I'm not sure if it's a transit motor. It's probably either the oil strainer right here, or there's a rear main seal, which is probably more what it is behind the between the engine and transmission where they meet. That looks like it's leaking. Trans looks like it's wet. I don't know if all that stuff kind of dripped back, or it could be leaking up here and running the other direction. But they leak. You know, it shouldn't be like that much wetness to them, but they'll be. This area will be damp. See where the motor mount is. Ground straps connected. It is missing the heater pipe. There's a flexible pipe that goes from this heater box into the car. That's how your heat comes in. Should look like something like that. That looks like it's the wrong size. That's out of something else. Now I think it is. I think the engine is out of something else, and that might be the ones that they used from it. Muffler looks good. Heater boxes look good. They got an external oil filter on it, which is nice. Goofy tailpipe accoutrements, new bumpers on it. I don't see any rust. I see a little bit right there. I don't see any rust on the fenders though. So that's the apron part of it. That side looks good. It's a remarkably clean car for New England, so it must not be from New England. It's in too good a condition. I don't know what these holes were for. There's one there and there's one with a bolt sitting here. Maybe rear seatbelts we're trying to do. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Maybe we'll pull the wheels off and stuff too. Take a look at the brakes. Front sway bars on there. So put shocks on it, then kind of cleaned, blew some like black paint in here. I got some on the shocks, cleaning some stuff up. How do we look up in there? Master cylinder looks like it was replaced at some point and just never painted. Cool. All right, let's go drop it down and take a peek a little bit better up above and see what we got. Let's go take a walk around the outside of it before we open up all the doors and stuff and see what we see. Gaskets are falling out of the headlights. I've never had good luck with these. They're like a seal that goes around the bucket. I generally just get rid of them. I've tried using them before too, and they seem to deteriorate fairly quickly. Inspection sticker is 2017, so it is 8 years since it went through an inspection. The paint looks awesome on the car. It definitely needs to be detailed, but it's pretty flawless. I don't see any dings or anything in the car anywhere. And a little bit of rust starting right there. Usually you see big patches in there. I don't know if that's damage or a little bit of a swirl mark on the door there. Has all the correct window seals. A lot of times they have what's called the California look. They get rid of this chrome strip going around, because they're easier to install. Those are a pain in the ass. Is the windshield one in? Yeah, that one really is a pain to go and do, along with all the chrome on there. So I like seeing that. Especially like this car is a nice original version of it. You know, it's not been messed with other than having a bigger engine in it. It's like the rear deck lid has an alignment problem because it's got tape up top. Looks like it's been rubbing. They tried to adjust it. There was something going on with the taillights. These are called snowflake taillights. Back then, Snowflake had a different meaning. This right here is sitting on an angle like that. They should be more straight up and down. I don't know if that's optical illusion, if they are just out of whack. So that would mean, if they are out of whack, somebody probably put new fenders on it and they're just not drilled correctly. That can get fixed pretty easy, if they even care. Yeah, it looks like, yeah, you can see where it's rubbing there. Might be able to go fix it. Probably got sprung. Somebody probably opened the deck lid and then hyper extended it and it bent the two brackets on it. And that's about the only place I see a flaw on the paint anywhere. Well, the rest of it looks great. Bottom of the doors. Again, like usually you see patches all welded in on this stuff. Just a hair of rust. Everything else is all original. Real white wall tires, not portal walls like I do. Let me go open all the doors in the hood and the trunk lid and we'll do another walk around, see what we can see in there. And we get that junk out of there. And now we got her opened up like Herbie. Let's go take a peek at the innards and see how they look. Looks pretty good on here. I took the cardboard out. That was in here, the little decking part that goes in a spare tire. Whoever painted it really did a nice job because they took everything apart and painted, you know, all the gauges and everything were taken out. None of the wiring harness was painted, which sometimes becomes a popular thing. That may be so it was a 6-volt car, switched over to 12 volts. So some of the stuff may be 6 volt, which is going to be like the wiper motor and some other things. So that might be a step down for the for that. I'm not sure yet. Might be radio stuff too. I see another like a capacitor possibly right there. And it really looks decent. I'm not sure about whether this tub was replaced. This looks pretty. See what that seam sealer is down there? Yeah, so it probably had a tap in the nose and they replaced the front apron, or at least repaired it. The body tag is still on it. I don't know what that orange tape is for. Oh yeah, that's the cardboard that goes under it. Inside of it looks really pretty decent. Headliner's all good. Seat looks like they are decent seats. Maybe a little bit of mouse traffic has gone across them, possibly. There was mouse traps and stuff in it. I didn't see any mice though, not yet. I don't smell any mice neither. Look at all the stuff out. Yeah, there's some seeds and stuff on the floor. But not terrible. Yeah, there's some mouse. Baking soda. I don't know if that's for just odor. And cling-free dryer sheets down in there. Battery's 11 of 15. That is the wrong battery. And the reason why it is the wrong battery is because it's too tall. If you were to put the seat that's on here, it's got metal springs underneath, that and that end up touching together and they start a car fire. Or at least get your ass real hot. So no fat chicks in the back seat of this one until that gets replaced. Yeah, all the door cards all look good. Everything looks nice inside. Like I said, whoever did it did a nice job. Let's go back to the engine bay. Looks like they ran the fuel filter far and away, which is fine. That doesn't hurt anything. I usually run it up through here. Well, I got a cough. So it is a dual port engine, meaning on the side there's 2 ports going in each cylinder head. That's what makes it a dual port. It has been switched over to an alternator. There is a problem because that has an alternator with the standard carb. And you say, what is the problem with that? There's supposed to be an offset plate in here that kicks this carb a little bit to that side because there's a chance that linkage is going to rub. I'm going to look into that later. Everything else is pretty clean. All the seals are good going around. The seals in the back. So I put a little chrome kit, dressed it up on there. Yeah, you can see some mice trails here and there. That looks quite nice. I think we should charge. Actually, I have a battery, a correct battery to go put in it. Maybe we'll switch to that over and we'll start seeing if we can go get it running. And I wouldn't think there would be a problem with it not being able to turn and all. Yeah, that part's fine. I didn't suspect that to be any kind of issue. So let's get into it. Let's go see. Can I put a battery in it? Let's go crank it, listen to it, and see what we got. The fuel system to go deal with. Again, this sat for a long time. Yeah, gas and whatever is for gas in there is not looking the correct color for the vintage. Yeah, and we'll continue on chasing it, see if we get fired up and see what we got to work with as far as its run condition. Looks good. See if it runs good. Let's see if it even cranks with the battery that's in it. No. It'll light the dash lights up, but yeah, she's got nothing. So no loss in that battery anyway. Don't you love when they take the negative terminal is red and the positive terminal is black? No problem putting that in backwards, huh? It goes right to ground on the body. I had a car come in once. It would run. It's just it wouldn't charge and a bunch of other stuff wouldn't work. But actually, you did fire the car up backwards. There's a difference between the batteries, you could see. And that post is up probably at least 2 inches higher than that one. And then even on these, they have like a little kind of, it's around here someplace. Now you get a pizza, it's got that little table sitting in the center of it. Well, they have a little rectangular one that sits over the top of the positive terminal, also just to keep it from arcing out. But yeah, that's a proper air-cooled VW battery. Buses don't matter, you got plenty of room, but for these, sitting underneath the seat, gotta go with them. That fits in there a little bit better. It is missing, there's a hold down bracket that goes on this stud right here. It pushes down against the base of the battery, and then on the front of the battery is just an area that it gets captured. So it's gonna be able to flop around in here until you finds that. It might even be with a box of parts that came in it. But let's go get our negative to positive and positive to negative set up. Yeah. That looks great. I'm gonna order. I might just paint that one black, or maybe I'll put a piece of tape on it that says negative. That's gonna get somebody, especially if you go to jump start it. Let's see what we get now. Nothing. There you go. There's that. Go see if we have we're not gonna have a fuel gauge. Let's go look down the gas tank, see if it's in it. Anything in it. Yeah, early cars, you pull up a gas station, you'd open your hood. Later on they punched it out through the side, but let's go see. Well, it's clean in there. See a little bit of, you can see a little bit of something in there, but I think it's out of gas. Good. Good, that we don't have to deal with a bunch of crappy gas. Let's, before we, is that just a stain in there? No, it's got about an inch of fuel on the bottom. Yeah, it smells pretty ripe. Let me go. I got one of those little sucker tools. Just go shove that in there. See if we can get some of that out of there, if it will. It may be so low we don't get anything. It ain't got no gas in it. There's the problem. I wonder if we could just go a little bit and see if anything's leaking out the bottom. Like, oh, I hate these gas cans. I hate them with a passion. That's probably why they moved the filler neck to outside, because you dump fuel inside your car with your electrical stuff. Let's go make sure we're not peeing out the bottom. Happens when you get older. I see a drip, but that might be a drip of what I just spilled in there. Yeah, That's that right there. All right, I'm gonna give her a little bit more, get about a gallon in it, and we'll see if we can get some fuel to prime up on it. The car came with starter fluid. Is that a bad sign? And so instead of trying to crank it up and let the fuel pump draw fuel to the front, what we can do is there's direct access to the float ball. You can fill the float ball up. I even just do this with my, like if they've been sitting, my regular daily air cooled, like Krusty. I'll do this before I try starting. It saves the battery, especially if it's kind of iffy. We'll give a little squirt so we can run off of that. Give her a crank, see how she wants to play. Want to back up a little bit in case mice come out of the exhaust on fire or something? Talk to us. That's way off on the air fuel mix. Hear that high pitch whistle, like that sloping sound? Done great. Yeah, I can hear the car's not right. You hear that? Louder than it should be. We'll let it warm up till the choke turns off. There's an electric choke right here with a coil that heats up, and it slowly opens up the coil, the choke, and you'll see this lever. It's got a step on it. That's like a high-speed idler. You can kind of like there. As it warms up, you just click down and turn off. It might be about a minute or so. I'm gonna let it run. You keep an eye on it. I'm gonna go open the door. I have a bad accelerator pump that falls out of space. And an idle, you nail it. We'll hang a timing light on it, see what it looks like. See what we get for marks. We're gonna go shut it off and go look at our marks. It sounds like it's running way too, probably rich. They got the mixture screws backed way out. Also, the other problem I was telling you about, I could see it. We were talking about the carb earlier. So if you floor it, how close that linkage is getting to that. That's not good. It actually, it was sticking there for a second. It's like somebody ground away a part of the alternator to make it work. Yeah, somebody ground on the alternator right there. Get that clear. We'll keep that in mind. All right, what we were doing, we were gonna get a timing light on. Let's go see if the pulley is marked. Let me go turn that over, see if we can find where 0 is, and we'll mark it with a Sharpie, and then we'll see where we are in the case, where the area is. Should also probably take a quick look at points. It didn't look like it was draw much fuel up, did it? I was trying to get the fuel filter to draw up. A lot of times you will get air trapped in here, especially if just a little bit of the filter touches fuel. It'll just draw from that one section. It'll never purge that air. That's why I was trying to twist it on its end to get the air to burp through it. So we're gonna, like about this one here. Let me get it set up on 0, and we'll be able to look at the time, the points to see how much they're opening to. So generally the timing is anywhere between like 0 and like up to about 7 degrees. The problem is there's so many different engines that have been changed over the years. Like you can't look up this car and see what it is. AE I think is 70, it's gonna be like a 72, 73, I want to say. And what we got for marks here? I see one right there. Let's go mark. There's top dead center, I see it. Let's go lighten that up a little bit, see what we got. And we should be on top of a lobe. Take a look at those points. And look at them right there. We probably back it off a hair. It actually looks pretty good. I'm looking at the gap right in there. I'm going to throw slide a feeler gauge down inside there, see if that's at 16 thou. If not, I'm going to tweak it a little bit, because whatever movement you have on there will change the timing, because you're changing the opening and closing point of the points on the little lobes right here. And if you have it set open more, it's going to be a longer duration. If it's closed more, it's going to be a shorter duration. It changes. Even if you don't loosen the distributor and move it, that alone will knock it out. So you want to make sure that's set first before we hit the timing. Plus, we want to see if the advance and stuff works. It sounded pretty good, though. I didn't hear any clacking or anything. Let's see what we got. Way too loose. And again, that. Like I said, we'll throw the timing off. So it's got one screw you can loosen up, and then there's like a pivot point on the back of it. You could turn and get the wire out of the way. I got you kind of far away, but let's go get that closed up some. Double check it. A lot of times, as soon as you loosen it up, it changes too, though. But yeah, it's not even dragging on the gauge. So you can put a screwdriver in the back side and there was a little bit of a tit, burn spot on the points, which is causing a little bit of an issue. I'm not going to throw a bunch of parts at it, at least not right away. Maybe have him make a shopping list of what he wants. A lot of times too, when you tighten the screw down, it'll move. Right, now it's got drag on it the whole time. Okay, let's fire it back up and go hang a time light on it. And what I find a lot of times on these, I'll kind of set it at 0. I'll leave the distributor loose, and I'll kind of run it down the road, and I'll bump it a little bit one way and the other. There's such a mix of parts on, what is put together. Does it have the correct distributor for the engine? Does it have, again, it's not even the correct engine for the car, so you don't know even what to go look up as far as specs on anything. Are we getting gas dripping? We may have an intake. Checking the play and the throttle. We have fuel dripping down through here. And we got gas leaking on the base of the carb. Quite a bit. So we have a carb issue we're going to keep an eye out. May have to go take it apart and clean it anyway. It might have a float level that's too high. Don't forget to take that off. That makes a noise when you fire it up. Let's go get the timer light. Oh, let's just rev it up, see if we have a van. Just lock it down right there. We're going to back off this choke. This choke is on too much. It should have been out of the way by now. It hasn't done that yet. Go loosen that up, turn it back. I want to arc out to the post of the alternator. Slide. To do it with the car off. I don't want to hit that. Let's go more on, but not less off. There we go. Go ahead, adjusting that car. You'll hear the sound change. Got an intake leak right here. That's supposed to be a boot over a vacuum hole. Well, there's no end on it. We'll do it like that. We'll get one. It's just a vacuum hose, a piece of screw in the end of it. And if any of these are an issue, any of these problems, you're not going to be able to tune it. So all the stuff has to be kind of taken care of before you try adjusting the carb or anything, you know. This is the direction that you send it. Sometimes you got to dance back and forth between a couple things. See how it starts now. Still got a lot of spring on it. It should be off by now. They may have something set up wrong in here.
Yeah, the top screw is out as far as it can really go. Still a little poppy though. Still got something else going on with it. I'm kind of wondering, go shut it off. I want to see if the base of that carb gets wet again. If so, the float level's too high and it's dumping too much fuel in. Probably even at an idle right now, so it can't get adjusted right because it's pissing fuel into itself. In other words, it's flooding itself over. That's kind of what I think it's doing. Let's give it a second. Now, if we start getting a lot of fuel back around this base, the float on the inside of the carb is coming up too much, the fuel level is coming up too much, and it's dumping into the carb and kind of adding to the mix part of it. This also would make it really start hard too, because if you let it sit for 10 minutes, it dumps a bunch of raw fuel in it, and it just flooded it out while it wasn't even running. Yeah, something definitely, yeah, it's got getting some on the back right there right now. Let's go let it sit a minute and we'll see what happens. Won't be able to get you in there. Sometimes you can look down the throat of the carb too. You actually see the fuel dripping in, because right now there's pressure on the system. It's not much. 2 psi from the fuel pump, pushing in on the carb. Either the float is not shutting off. Generally on a Beetle that doesn't happen. If it does, it's real bad. You would notice it. Yeah. Yeah, we're getting. Yeah, I think that's what's happening. I'm going to shut you off. I'm going to air out the garage with the fan, and then maybe we'll pop that carb off and look and see if some stuff is missing. Sometimes too, on the top of the float, there's seals that go on it. Some people will not put the seal on the needle and seat. It's a enclosed piece you thread into the base of the carb. If it's missing that gasket, it changes the float height, and that might not be in there. It also could be a crappy carburetor. It's aftermarket. Any of those could be it. Yeah, I'm just gonna show up on camera. You guys, you can just see how it's like putting a mist, like a fog, coming out of it. You guys have a better view than I do. It should not be doing that right now. I'll blow on it, kind of blow it out of there. That should not be happening right now. But it is. What's the make on this? Yeah, it's an aftermarket. BOC, Bocar. That might be the issue. Not a factory carb. I have run into these in the past. A problem in the past, and see how it's doing it again. There's holes they drilled. There's holes in the base of the carb that got drilled through, and they drilled all the way into the chamber of the carb. Let's get that out of there. Take a look. Yeah, I'm getting ready to take it off right now, and it's doing its thing pretty good. Stinking aftermarket. Oh, you work on air-cooled Volkswagen, you have a Beetle. You want a 13mm S wrench. It's great for all the exhaust bolts, the fuel pump, the carburetor, to get the back bolts off. Okay, this one's supposed to have an offset. We've used the alternator. You're supposed to have an offset on the carb. It kicks it over to the side. There. Would help if I disconnect the throttle cable, huh? Whoops. 8mm. getting ahead of myself. That one's got a screw in it. Hey, factory. It's at the end of its throw too. Barely catching that cable. It'll open up, may end up better trying to maybe get a better. Yeah, it should not be doing that if you tilting it just a hair. I should not be doing that. Yeah, look at all the raw fuel going down the intake down there. And just puddling up and running it way too rich. That's what its issue is. Let's get the top of that carb off, take a peek inside. That's why everything's so wacky on it. It's aftermarket carb. I don't know if that's a Chinesium. So that's what I was talking about for the needle seats, one piece. It does have the gasket underneath it. Call it a shim if you want. But what happens is, make sure the float hasn't sunk. It hasn't. Got some dirt in it. Not terrible, there's dirt in it. So, what I found on carbs in the past, I don't know if you can be able to see on this one, is these two holes, that one and that one. When they made them, they drilled right through and they went right through the base of the carb and came out the bowl and would cause them to drip through the base of it right here. Whether that's the case or not, I don't know. I'm going to go clean this out. I'm going to go clean the crap that is in there out of there. And maybe we'll let it sit. We'll fill the fuel we'll fill the fuel level up to where it kind of should be. We'll just let it sit. We'll see if the fuel level starts dropping down inside the carb. And if that's the case, I don't think there's nothing we will be able to fix on this. I had it happen once before. You know, really old time subscribers. We went through that. I was doing a blue and white VW bus, not Mike's bus, not the captain's. One older than that. We were fixing up. I'll probably say about 15 years ago, and he had aftermarket carb, and that was what the problem was. I finally contacted the manufacturer, and they're like, they didn't want to do the right thing. I said, I'll put a video up and I'll show you what's wrong with the carburetor. And when I said that, they had no problem in refunding him his new carburetor, and then we fixed the old one, put the old one on it. So let's go dump that out, or you know what? Let's I'm gonna go set it up. I'm gonna pour some fuel in it. We'll just let it sit. We'll mark the fuel level, and we'll see if it drops down. Okay? Okay. Kind of gas, is it? Yeah, I'd say it. It's mustard gas. Let's see, probably about right there. I don't know if we're gonna be able to mark it with a Sharpie or not. Let's call it a little below that already. All right, I'm gonna go do some stuff. I'm gonna let that sit for about 10-15 minutes. Also, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take a white paper towel, we'll put it underneath it. We'll see if anything kind of drips onto it. Actually, that's doing its thing. Let's go get the needle and seat out of it. Yeah, I've not had very good luck with the aftermarket carbs. I usually like to stick with it. The name would be a Solex that's on it. And this doesn't have any origin of country made. We need a 15 for that. Because the other part too is, like, if this doesn't shut off, it'll keep filling that float ball up, and eventually it will overflow. Or if it leaks around it, is another thing I should say. The threads are getting tight, which is kind of weird. Seems kind of oddly crimped. Could have been leaking around that. I'm just going to go blow through this valve right here. Just an on-off valve. And when I push up on it, it should shut off. And it seems like it is doing that. So I'm going to go upstairs, grab a kit. That right there could have been our culprit. It could have been leaking around. That doesn't... also seems like it's the wrong thickness too. I'm going to go grab a kit and see if compare parts. Yeah, it's made in Mexico is where it is. So here's a replacement for it. And you'll notice that they're a brass copper compared to the aluminum one. Plus I think they'll fit a little more snug around the base of it. That one seemed like it was kind of walking out of there. So I don't see anything dripping on the paper towel yet. They look pretty good. Over there, the level seems like it's staying. That's a good sign. Try filling it up a little bit more, but I have a feeling maybe it was leaking around the needle and seat. Generally, the needle and seat itself, it can get a piece of dirt in it, but generally that is not what leaks. If they do, it's usually really bad. But kind of looking at it, might be suspecting that might have been our issue. Plus the thickness of it is thin, and the more that is stacked up inside here, the lower the float level will be. I'm going to take the rest of that carbon apart because those screws are all bound up and everything. I'm not going to bore you with that, but we're going to go clean out the center of that, all the crap that's down inside there. All that garbage we'll get out of it, get the jets out of it, we'll clean it. We've got it apart, might as well. Take that one out, take that one out of the side. The accelerator pump, let's go hit it a couple times, see if the accelerator pump works. Got to move it, the linkages right here. We're going to look for the squirt coming out of here. Couldn't help myself. All right. So we should get, actually looks pretty good. It's not adjusted right, but it does, right from initial movement is squirting, so the diaphragm that's in there should be in good condition. I'm not going to soak it and everything. I'm just going to take it apart and blow out all the passages. I do know we were trying to move this adjusting screws on this side. They were binding up pretty good. So look, we got it apart. Let's grind a little bit off the head of that screw so it's not hitting on, you know, give it full throttle. It just sticks at full throttle, and it's going to kind of suck. Like I said, you can see they already ground part of the housing of the alternator away, but let's go take just a little bit off the tip. Right there. Finishing putting it back together, and this is that spring I was telling you that gets heated up for the choke. And it's just a big coil that electricity goes through, and as it heats up, the wire changes position. And when it changes position, pulls on this little arm, you can see it goes from closed position, and then as it warms up, it opens the choke up. Well, anyway, you're supposed to be able to put this on here, and you have the 3 set screws. And when you loosen them up, you're supposed to be able to turn it real easy. This one's kind of binding. I'm just going to take it on the belt sander, and there's some flash on it right there. We'll go just clean some of the edges up so that we can rotate that and kind of dial it in a little bit better. There's a mark on it. It's like a starting point right there. It's got 2 marks. I think somebody had it set at the wrong one, and one's probably just a scratch, and one's the starting mark. It doesn't really matter. You're still going to dial it into where that flap is just right when it's cold. So, as I'm going to pull that hammer away, we're just going to go dial that in. You'll see where it just starts to bring in. I'm going to give it right about there. And you can see where the marks are. I think somebody else, generally your starting point is the center of that one. With there, I think somebody had it set up on that one, so the choke was way too tight, causing even more of a richness problem in it. Again, that's just a starting point, but you have to tweak that as time goes on. But kind of tell, like, you know, in the wintertime you have a little bit more. You just play with it a little bit, adjust it in. All right, I'm gonna go throw that carb back on, see what we get. All right, let's do the same thing again. Let's go. Probably it would be a good idea to put the fuel line back on. we'll prime that carb and get out. We'll prime that carb so it doesn't have to fill up the float ball to go take off. Just see what it does. You can also even just shut it off too, see if it does that foaming over again. It's kind of a crappy setup. Yeah. Should be enough to get it to go. Everything on? You know if it fires up, literally. Let's give her some RPMs. You're doing the same thing. It's better, but the adjustments are way out from where they should be. It's running too rich. It's not like it's too lean. Too lean is being like if you had a dirty carb and you're not getting enough fuel, that's what too lean means. This is getting too much fuel. I'm going to shut it off and I'm going to see what happens if it's giving a leaking going around that base like you were before. See if it fires back up. So let's set for a little bit, and we'll see if we get any drippage around that. I don't like that carburetor. So the one thing I do see, we are not misting over like we were before. That is a good sign. And let's see what we get for if it needs the pens or not. You know? So far, so good. Let's give it a few more minutes. It's only been about 3 or 4 minutes. I was looking at the deck lid adjustments that we need to make on it while we're back here. It looks like we have to go. So the deck lid is too far out. It's got to go in more. I think their thinking was when they were trying to adjust it was the wrong direction. The closer this is down in this direction, the more it will automatically tuck under the vent I think they're trying to go the other way with it. Yeah, I'm gonna go loosen those screws up. Ugh. Which, it's got two adjustments. It's got one set right here, you can see, and another set right here. I think somebody was trying to work with those and not working with the ones in the back also. So I'm gonna go tweak on those a little bit. Well, that, anything yet? No, we still look good. Maybe that problem is solved. I still don't like the adjustment screws are way out from where they normally would be. That may be, as long as you can get in it and not have to crank it for 40 seconds before it starts, it was definitely a major improvement. And wait about 15 minutes or so. I don't see anything. Good. Let's go fire it up, see if it fires up. I'm not going to pump the gas or anything. It should be able to fire, run in about 5 seconds of cranking. Generator light also is kind of glowing a little bit. It may have a charging system issue. I'm not sure, but good. That I want to back off that choke a little bit more. Still, it still should not really have tried to come back on, and it has. So it's already trying to like by now. That should be staying like that. It's more than warm enough. So we'll tweak that back a little further than when it was. But I'm working still. Now on the hood. So the adjustment is kind of maxed out. I think what happened was somebody went and took the hood and hyperextended it and kind of bent the bracketry plus the weld between the hood itself and the brackets, I'll say deck lid, and itself are on the part of somewhat failing. So to get a little bit more adjustment out of it, we can try to see if we can pull these brackets down just a hair. Again, the adjustment's already kind of maxed out, so see if we get anything out of them. Do a little bit of that on both sides. And that should pull the hood further away and down at the same time. Should. I'm saying it's gonna. I feel like much softer than it should have been. I ain't gonna say it. Oh wow, I'm well within it now. That right there alone gave you everything we needed. Now we could probably get some adjustment to kind of close up this gap, but we're not even near hitting that anymore. I'd rather have that than too much the other way. So now I think we're racked a little bit. This side can come up a little. Yeah, definitely was what the problem was. I'm going to try to shovel it back, work it way back up just so we're kind of clearing that. We still have a good quarter inch, 3/16. We could probably knock that down to about an eighth. And I think I want to get most of that out of that side right there. Well, judging by the rust, it's been definitely doing it for a while. There, right where the 3 pieces of tape were. So at some point, like that hinge on this deck lid should come off and get a weld put around it. I don't know if I can show it, but you can see it is the flex on the back part of this hinge where this attaches to the hinge is very weak right in that area. So, but for now, you can open and close the deck lid and it no longer hits. Get that deck lid all cleaned up, cleaned all the tape and stuff off of it, and it's been sitting this whole time. I do not see anything. I'm definitely starting to think it was that seal on the needle and seat. The needle and seat was sealing itself, but it was leaking around the mounting surface on that with that little aluminum seal that is on it. That's what our choke does. That's not bad. Let's go fire it up again. We'll see how it is. I still think something is a little off on it as far as running rich, but We haven't adjusted the valves or looked at the plugs or anything. Let's see what it does. Much better. There's that charge light I was talking about. A little lopey, but much better than what it was. It's got a cam, don't it? When you clear it up. Yeah. You probably could do that again. I don't think so though. I think we're going to leave it like that for now. Put an air cleaner on it. And better with the deck lid shut. Kind of thinking it might be the jet that's in the carb itself, maybe just be a little too on a large size for it, and maybe where the issue is. But again, at least we can kind of fire it up, get in it, and start it without cranking it for a minute. So the next thing I see that is an issue when you fire it up is there's an oil light and a generator light. Underneath this light, let's get rid of this. Fire it up. Oil light goes out right away. Generator light, on the other hand, yeah, kind of like flickers, and but for the most part, it's staying on. Let's go put a meter on the battery and see what kind of power we got going back to it. See if we are getting something or not. If you rev it up, it actually gets worse. So see if we're actually charging or not. If we are not, or we got a kind of a weird number, I wonder if somebody hooked jumper cables up to it or a charger up to that battery backwards and hurt that alternator, my guess. Let's go get a meter. All right, positive is negative and negative is positive, right? Should be our hot side. I did label one too. And let's go give herself some power. And we want voltage DC. The battery's around 13 volts right now. That light, I hope it's hurting. Let's go fire it up. I'm gonna reach the gas pedal though. That's less than the charge voltage. Let me see if I can get down and rev it up. There really should be, take a poke at it with a stick or something. That really should be up around 14 and changes. Let's give it a minute. It is climbing up. That should be around, should get up to about 14.5, if not so much on an idle. Our light is dim right now. We go get like a broom handle or something to go push on that so we can kind of rev it up and keep an eye on it. Can we move the meter? Yeah, let's do that. Let's go put that by the front seat and we'll go around, we'll rev the gas pedal. The light is super dim right now. Let's go rev it up. I wouldn't say that's terrible, but I wouldn't say that's great either. Let's go turn it off. I mean, still turn the headlights on. They work. See what it draws down to. Let's put the headlights on. And definitely they got much brighter. I mean, it's higher than the headlights off. Now let's kill it. Yeah. It seems a little funky with it. Yeah, my guess is it got back charged. Again, the battery, I don't think everybody had that battery out because it's pretty crusty. But I have a feeling it may have went dead and somebody put jumper cables on it backwards and tried it. And then, of course, turned the key on and cranked it, and the alternator is now seeing that current backwards. May have hurt it a little bit. Well, at least it's doing something. I wouldn't be, that comfortable kind of cruising around. Another thing I want to go do, let's go take a battery terminal off and we'll put a test light in between. We'll see if we have any kind of draw, like something staying on, like the alternator has an internal short that is drawing power. If it is, the light will light up slightly. Hopefully you can see. I can't tell what you're looking at. Anyway, so I'm gonna take a battery terminal off and have a test light here. I'm gonna go across the battery. Of course, the test light should light up. Like so, right? Now, if I take this and go across, it doesn't matter, negative or positive. If this lights up at all, there'd be a draw on it. Let me go turn the headlights on. I'll show you what I mean. You'll be like, how's that gonna light up? It will. See? And nothing's connected to the battery other than a test light. So that means current is going across. I'll turn the headlight off. And the brightness is how much of a draw. So I'll just go to parking lights. See if it goes dimmer. Nah, it's pretty much stays full power. Anyway, so right now, there's no draw on the car, so that's good. I was worried about the alternator having an internal short and running the battery down, considering that battery was like stone dead. But nope, we're okay. That's good. So I'm not that concerned about that alternator right now, other than the fact that it does have the light coming on. So I'm just gonna leave that alone. But that's good for like if you're trying to find a short. Say if you leave your car and your battery goes dead after a couple of days or a couple of hours. So you do just what I did. This is on older stuff. Modern stuff, unfortunately, it's gonna be lit because the computer's on all the time. So what you do that, and if your battery's of course going dead and that's lit up, you leave it set up like that. You pull one fuse at a time, and when the light goes out, that's the circuit that is drawing the power, where it would be like a rear defrost or a relay staying on for something, or like an amp that was in a trunk, whatever it is, anything that is kind of turning on, drawing a little bit of power, it will go out when you pull a fuse on that circuit, and then you can just trace that circuit and say, okay, that circuit has this, this, and this on it. Let me go look into what's causing that problem. So we're good. Well, I think it's actually about a week in the future, and we kicked the bug off the lift to do our Lemons car. But it's been sitting over here, like I said, again, about 6 days or so. Let's go see what it does for a cold start on the carb setups that we have now. See what we get. Hopefully it doesn't fight us. Give her like you normally would. Started up pretty good though. Yeah, still a little on the rich side. I still have that same kind of feeling as far as just the idle circuit being a little too rich in general. But it did fire up before. It took quite a while to get it cranking. Like I said, it had a can of starter fluid in it. So making progress. All right, I'm gonna go move them around, get it back on the lift, and not sure what we're gonna do. Maybe we'll pop 2 wheels off and see what the brake situation is going on. Yeah, so I figure we'll pop one off the front and the rear for now. If we see that there's more damage, yeah, we'll make our assessment from the first set of wheels. Usually if something's done to one side, it's done to the other. So if like the wheel cylinders and everything look good and the shoes look good on this side, the other side should be the same. But if one side's funky, then of course we got to go in deeper. We don't have to take the tire off, the rim off the drum. You can just take it with the drum. Let me get the key out of it, the pin. And that should be a 36mm nut. See if the little gun will do it.
switch over to air. By rights, these should be really tight anyway. This still may not do it. And as long as the brake shoes are not too tight and there's too much rust on the drum, we should be able to pull it, work it right off. If not, we have to back the brake shoes off. Let's see what we get. Yeah. I do know it was dragging, so there's a little bit of a lip on the brake drum. The shoes are kind of hitting it. So there's a little peak hole that we can adjust the brake shoes with. I'm gonna go take a little adjusting tool in there, back the brake shoes off if they were able to be adjusted. Sometimes the adjusters are frozen. Let's see if we can get that backed off, and then we should be able to pull the drum off. Either way, tire on or off, we still have to do that. You're not gonna be able to fit in there with me, but there are adjusters right here, and if they move, hopefully, they're like a star wheel. And there's two of them. That one's frozen. This one may give us a little bit better luck because of the direction it turns. There it goes. That's telling me the brakes haven't been done in a long time. And like I said in the beginning, the brakes were dragging. Let's see, that was enough to get it for us. Let's see what we got. Right off the bat, it looks a little on the wet side for the axle seal. They do weep, kind of. Let's get you a little closer. They do have a tendency to weep, and they have a deflector to kind of steer the fluid away, if it does leak, away from the brake shoes so they don't get wet. And there should be one on the drum. Yeah, you see that? So the oil will go in there, go into a slinger, and the slinger deflects it away from the brake shoes. And they're looking kind of iffy. The brake shoes themselves are not wet. Well, getting a little tore up though, huh? Right. Yeah, a little delamination, look like it's happening right there. And the other thing is if the wheel cylinders move. When we go get you back in the stand, let's go pull these boots away, see if we have any leaking coming around these, and if they're still able to be turned. Yeah, if we get any fluid coming out of these, then the wheel cylinders are going to be iffy. But it does look like they were replaced, and probably just never used. Yeah, that's not a good sign. See that? Shouldn't be doing that. Let's another thing too, I'm not sure if that brake lever, so this is your emergency brake lever, and sometimes that will affect your brakes. Let's go see, the lever's down all the way, so make sure I don't have a binding cable. I don't. I'm gonna pop the brake shoes off real quick, just so that we can see what we got for those wheel cylinders, whether they turn or not. There's that frozen adjuster. That's not supposed to do that. It just doesn't know it. Yeah. Definitely sat a while. The only other thing I want to check for right now is to see if these rotate. That one does. If they were locked up, then definitely you would have an issue with yeah, both of them are moving. So them back together. Let's go pop I'm going to go put all this back together. I'm going to go free up these adjusters just so I can adjust the brakes. We know you know, pretty much this is what we have on this side. The other side is going to be the same thing. So my guess is that we'll probably just have him order a complete brake kit. Let's go see. The hydraulic hoses look pretty good. I don't see much of an issue with them. See a little bit of leaking around this boot right here. And we got leaking at that boot, so that these boots are leaking, which is a very common thing. That's the swing axle coming, gear oil coming out of the transmission. We also know that's kind of, you know, fairly wet back there too. So, and then the brake drums. I would think we could probably just get away with cutting those. They got a bunch of crap on them, but they do have a lip. Normally you would measure the width across them and see if you have enough room to get them cut. They're getting pretty close. I can tell just by looking at the lip here how much is left. I don't see heavy scoring on them. They're just kind of, there you go. So much crap sitting on them. Sitting in one place for so long. This is the one that was frozen. Should be that bad, but then again. That one's a... And then what I'll do is I hit all the stuff on a wire wheel, clean it up, and you just put a little bit of anti-seize on it. Non-seize. And then it makes it so it's adjustable again. Again, definitely chalky. Doesn't need much, just a little bit on the threads. It'll work its way in there. That just kind of keeps it from doing what it did. Probably a little too much. And then on the outside of the barrel, just gets a little dab also. And when you put them together, it should be able to go by hand all the way. And it'll spread it all the way around. That's good. And all I'm doing is I'm getting in there with it, where that little hole is, with that adjuster I showed you earlier. And this is what you're catching on. So you're going through the hole and you're just kind of giving it a click a little bit more, and it takes the brake shoe and it pushes it out a little bit at a time. We kind of go into the brake shoes, touch the brake drum, and then you back it off just a hair so it doesn't rub on the brake drum. That's what we're going to go do. Again, this is just a quickie, putting it back together just so it's functional, but it's going to need pretty much everything replaced. And just reverse everything. So that's nice. Get our spring back on. And then, again, I'm just going to go through that little peak hole now with the adjuster, and I could turn those star wheels with a drag off of that hole, something like that, and I'll get the brake shoes out to touch and work them back off. I'm going to run it fairly, so it's already locked up. I'm going to run it a little bit harder though, just so the shoe seats itself top and bottom. And then back it back off. A little bit more than that. And just do the same to the other one, but it's the opposite direction. So tight as loose is tight. So now we're going to go to tighten it. Tight, nice and snug, and back it off. A little bit of drag yet. That feels pretty good. So I'm gonna take the big impact on. I'm gonna rotate this so I get lined up with a key, put a key back in it. Again, we have to go back in here at another date to do the actual repairs, but again, it's more of an assessment video. Let's go check the front out. So on the driver's side, this dust cap for the wheel bearings is on this side only. There's a little C-clip, and that is holding the speedometer cable. The speedometers run off the center of the wheel. That's that right there. And this dust cap, sometimes they put up a fight, sometimes they don't. Ooh, that one's... I don't know if there's an aftermarket one or not. Usually there's a little bit of a lip here. You can kind of work with a screwdriver and get it to work its way off of there. I'm going to have to do a little bit of, maybe we can get it with a screwdriver and tap it on it and get it to pop free. Sometimes they just pop right off. Sometimes, you get that. Let's get a fight. Try putting the big pliers on and rocking it. I can tell you, I've never had this much difficult of a time. Yeah, they really hammered that one on there. That's got a little bit of corrosion or not too. I'm gonna go work on that. Let me go take a peek on the other side, see if it's got the same style dust cap on it. Of course, the other side's falling off. You can take it off with your fingers. So you can get behind it. I definitely don't think that's Volkswagen. I'll show you the other one later. Yeah, that one was on there. It's these weird little taper things on there too. All right, as we were. So there's a double nut set up here with a little tab that is bent over. Get rid of the air gun. Go back those off. Just one. And that'll allow you to back this nut off or jam together, and that's kind of like your adjustment. And have a clean rag or paper towel around, because you're into the bearing area. You're going to be setting the bearings down when you're doing it. Let me go grab something for that. Probably, it shouldn't be really tight. Shouldn't be ridiculously tight. Not like that lug that's on the back. Fight me. Left-handed thread on the driver's side. Now you should be able to take off that other clip. Well, it's not mauled. Oh boy, this one's gonna be a fun one. So there's a tab that falls into a key. There it goes. Right there. It's just bent. We're gonna take the other one off, and then we're into where the wheel bearings are. I'm gonna give that a bump. Pops that out. Take a quick look at them. I do not see a mess. And I'm going to back you up a hair to get the wheel out of there. We may have to back the brake adjusters off and see what we get. Yeah, we got this one, no problem. Well, it definitely looks better than what we had going on the rear over there. Let's go pop those seals down real quick. See if we see any fluid behind them. Yeah, unfortunate. It's not going to work. Yeah, both of those. So what that means is that inside here, there's a piston. That's a piston. The lower part's a piston. Behind that's a seal, and there's a spring in the middle. You hit your brakes. Brake fluid comes into the middle of it, pushes the two of them apart. Well, the fluid's supposed to stay in the middle part of it, not exit past those seals, and that's what's happening. So, brake shoes don't look bad, but if we're going to be in here, probably going to do all of it anyway. And then there's going to be a seal on the back of the drum where our light go. Let's see what that looks like. That all looks pretty good. They have to come out when you're cutting the drums anyway, and again, I don't think they were cut when it was put away. They definitely got a bunch of ridges in it. You can see this lip is a little bit thicker than what you saw on the back one. But it doesn't look terrible. They should be able to be cleaned up. Alright, I'm going to probably just go do a little bit of cleaning up on that. We'll throw that wheel back on there. And just one other thing. These are the bump stops in the front end. Right now the suspension's all the way down. And the bump stop, the rubber is rotted out on that. And it's gone, so a set of those probably wouldn't hurt. Let's go check out the dust cap on the other side real quick. Comparatively speaking. Well, that's kind of how it's supposed to come off. You can see like this one's some kind of aftermarket. Usually it has this bump on here. You can kind of get behind it and tap on it a little bit to get it to walk off of there. And you can see the thickness of the metal on this one and the thickness on the metal on this one is kind of ridiculous. I'll just make sure not to drive that so far on there. Even this one looks a little suspect as far as not being Volkswagen. Not sure. Fishing that up. On later cars, yeah, that's a little growly, huh? That bearing's a little noisy. On later cars, they don't have this setup. They have what's called a it's like a split nut with a set screw. And what that does, it's kind of looks like a nut. It's almost egg shaped, and on one end of it, it's cut, and there's a set screw that goes down in between it. So it doesn't have all this locking tabs and folding over stuff. A little bit more user friendly for assembly. Also kind of suggest front wheel bearings. I didn't take them apart and clean them. Usually you take them apart and you clean them, and you can kind of see what you got for conditioning and replace them. But spinning that wheel right now, I can hear a growl. I don't know if the camera picked it up or not, but indication that they have rough spots in them. So that cable, I should be able to reach it. I push that out some, see how that is. So I can get it started on the cap first. Get it on there. I'm gonna put that little clip on it. Not launch it, hopefully. I may need a set of pliers. I'm gonna grab a pair of pliers. I want to launch it. I said they're a little. Gone. It was on there and it launched itself off of there. Son of a. Like I knew it was going to happen, right? So I changed it out. So I didn't have a choice. But these are a little on the better side as far as trying to work with. This is what that one looks like. I don't know if you can see the setup in the back. You're able to kind of have that larger hole there, pull it through, and then clip it to the side, and then the little tab on the end of it locks it in. So take it back off, you stick a screwdriver back underneath here and pop it off. So back together, and now I have pulled out of the speedometer up above. So I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna kind of rotate it, and it should feed itself back into the distributor and start turning itself. Again, this cap is a little questionable. I even kind of question whether it's going in far enough. I won't say it. So we'll leave that for like that for now. Again, all this is going to be coming back apart. Now we're back by an old Volkswagen, and you can see the amount of lip that's behind this cap right here. Easily be able to get in there, get a screwdriver and kind of work it a little bit and work it off of there compared to the other two that you see over there. Definitely some kind of weird aftermarket ones that those have. Well, it definitely looks like it's been leaking a bit of gear oil, judging by all this. I would say the boots on each side, sometimes too, like you see this one just started dripping. Because I let the suspension down and back up again, it works that boot and kind of pumps out some of the oil that was in it. In either event, they are both failing. So we're gonna go take a peek at the transmission fluid. So this is the drain, which is 17 millimeter, and then hiding right up in there is the fill, and where you would check it. So 17 millimeter Allen wrench. If you don't have a 17 millimeter Allen wrench, you could just take a 17 millimeter bolt, run a couple of nuts on it, lock them together, and then use the bolt in there and put a wrench on it and turn the whole assembly out of there. It shouldn't be terribly tight. Shouldn't be. Let's go see what we get on this one. I'm gonna try to work on this one here again. It's 17 millimeters, so a wrench will fit right on that. There we go. Once you get it crack loose, you can get it. And unfortunately, your access is kind of like from over on the side here. And what you should really be able to do is get your finger up in the hole. And you should feel fluid. About a knuckle deep. Yeah, if it starts leaking out as soon as you pull the cap away, you know you got enough. But generally, you should be able to stick your finger in there. And I'm not getting anything. Yeah, so it is low on fluid. I'm going to go throw some in there just to be safe so we don't kind of burn it up and top that off. But it's definitely been leaking through the boots. I don't know, this wetness up here is the rear main seal on the engine leaking motor oil, or it's leaking gear oil out of the front of that too, but definitely low. Let's go take care of that. And you can get the squirt bottle kind of up in there with the, the taper tip on it. It's really kind of a pain in the ass. I've had good luck with this setup. It's just a little hand pump, like you would for your soap dispenser in your kitchen, and it just kind of pumps the fluid through, so you're able to run that hose up into it. And again, once it starts coming out of the drain hole, you know you're full. I want to say it holds 3. I think it's 3. I'm not sure. I'm positive on that. Anyway, I'm gonna go top that off. All right, so I'm back inspecting on the engine a little bit more, seeing some of the things that we're dealing with and what's missing and all. So these are called push rod tubes, and generally they are like pretty much got one piece tube with a crush or a crumple zone on the end of them that when you bolt the cylinder head seals on both sides, and then you can see this actually a seal right here. Well, these are aftermarket. You can put them in while the engine is together, and then you have these jam nuts on here you can crank down, and it pushes the two ends apart and it crushes down the seal. But I don't know if you can see, They're actively leaking, dripping right now. I've never had good luck with them. They always seem to do that. It's kind of like an unfortunate part of it. At least they are installed the right direction. You kind of want the inner, because the oil runs back down in these. Some people put them in the other way around, where the oil, like, so this piece continues to about right here. And I should probably point with something else, huh? So this inner piece right here continues probably to about right here. So the oil runs downhill. It doesn't have as much of a chance to try to run back up a leak through the threads. You put them in the other way around, they'll leak real bad right in there. We're missing a thermostat, which would be sitting right about here. And we're missing some tins, engine tins that would bolt on, kind of steer the air is blowing down around these jugs right here in the cylinder head. And there's fins or tin that steers that air in a certain direction. And some of that stuff is missing. Missing the one over here too, same thing. Not detrimental, the thermostat's not detrimental to it, but it does help with the longevity of the engine. Just something I'll say I figure I'll point out. Plus I don't know what it has for the rest of the parts up inside the engine tin. If the rear main seal is leaking, which is right here, this engine's going to have to come out, have that put in there anyway. Then at that point it can be inspected to see what else is there. Also looks like the oil straightener might be a little bit wet, or might be all this stuff just kind of running down and dripping down around it. I want to just go over, because I have found some stuff that's kind of a little on the questionable side. Let's go pop a valve cover off and put number 1 cylinder on top of that center, and we'll just take a quick look at the valve adjustments. Plus we'll pop a valve cover off just to see what it looks like inside the engine, which is going to be up over here in this wheel well. Let's get set up for that. So I want to be on number 1 cylinder to adjust number 1 cylinder valve. Here's the spark plug wires going around. The wires exiting to this side, number 1 cylinder, is that direction. So it's going to be, it could be either in this location or this location. So it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's how I remember it. I'm dyslexic, so I do it backwards. And I'm looking, you can see where number 1 would be right here. I want that rotor facing right there. There's actually a little notch right there also. Most of the time there is. You could just wrench it over. I should probably take it out of gear. Car's trying to roll. There you go. So I'm just gonna wrench that over so that is facing number 1 cylinder. Yeah. I'm not gonna go adjust the valves on number 1. And the same thing, like to go do number 2, I face the rotor another 90 degrees this way towards that plug wire, and then all the way around to do all 4 cylinders. Probably be better off with the tire out of the way for viewing purposes. But let's see if we can get the bail off. Joey, you wrap a rag underneath it and you pull straight down on it. There we go. Might piss some oil. A little bit. Well, it looks very clean, which is a nice thing to see. And we are looking at that out of the way. So this is going to be number 1 cylinder, which is something weird going on because it's set up on number 3. So somebody has taken somebody put the distributor in 180 out. Because right now both of these valves should be free on number 1 cylinder. And it's not either that, I got to point to the wrong wire. Let's go check. Yeah, so there is an issue. Normally, number 1 cylinder, you could even, like I said, you could even see the mark that is in it right there. Number 1 is either there or it's there. And it'll be the first spark plug wire, kind of why it's suspected. Number 1 actually is right here. So number 1 cylinder is right here. Someone, I believe, there's a drive down below that you can kind of put in any direction, and then on the top of it, it's keyed into a certain way. Someone has that incorrectly, causing it. Right now, it should be able to adjust number 2 cylinder. Essentially, it's that far out. This is actually on number 2, and that's kind of wacky. Usually I see a 180 out. I never usually kind of see it like that, 90 degrees out, which is kind of weird. So, but it is what it is. And there's also an issue. Again, this engine's kind of like a little bit of everything is put on it. It looks like it was changed over to alternator with a carburetor set up for a generator and distributor. It should probably have a vacuum advance on it, which it doesn't have, and it's got a mechanical advance distributor. So it's kind of a mosh posh, which is very common for Volkswagen, but trying to figure out what is the best setup for it sometimes can be a little on the wacky side. It also may be why we had so many problems with the carb. It may generally on, I don't know if later engines, but earlier engines, because they had a problem with number 3 cylinder back there running hot and having a problem with being cooled off and burning up, they bumped the timing a little bit on that distributor. I think they made it a little bit, they advance it? I'm not sure. They bumped the timing on it to get that cylinder to run a little bit cooler. And now I think we are maybe out. That may be on number 2 cylinder or I don't even know now, number 4. It's not on the correct cylinder, I don't think, because of that orientation and how this is all kind of set up. So we do have some kind of a weird scenario going on, because even the crank is saying bottom dead center instead of top dead center. Yeah. So this is 180 out where it should be. Wacky, I tell you. What you find. Anyway, let's go see what number 2 valve adjustment looks like, and then we'll check number 1. And I may just kind of dance around them, see if there's anything kind of funky there, get that taken care of. I may or may not address this. Sometimes getting that drive out of there can be an issue, and then also when you go to take it apart, you can lose something inside there that drops down into the engine, which can be very detrimental to having this project move forward. So I may or may not want to try to address that right now. Let's wiggle our way up in there. So this is number 2 cylinder. Oh. Looking cruddy on that one for a reason, some reason. And here we're in a feeler gauge in there. Actually, that one feels good. That one's tight, a little tight. Not bad though. So I think I'm going to run around and tweak them a little bit. Looking at the hardware behind for the cylinder head. See if I have any studs that are pulled. All this looks pretty clean in here. Just looking at how many threads are exposed on this one. Sometimes the cylinder head studs will pull out, and sometimes that's an indication of it. Or that one's been replaced. That might have been replaced with a repair one, because this one's showing twice as many threads as the other ones. The other ones have about 4 or 5 threads. This has got about 10 showing on it. I don't know if that shows up or not. Help you at all? See it? Also like a lot of I don't know what that is. Indian sealer or something on that. I don't know what that. The black staining is. And we're on the opposite side is number 4 cylinder, and the intake valve has no play. Got a little on the exhaust, nothing on the intake. So this is a problem cylinder. Did a compression test, it probably would show up a little bit on that. So again, I'm going to go adjust that. Plus I do see a little bit of rust. Again, I think just from sitting. This thing probably just sat for a long time, and then the oil runs off of stuff, and that's what you get. That light not fighting us now? There you go. You can see the rust that's kind of forming up on that a little bit. But the rest of it was a clean engine, so I would figure the rest of the stuff looks pretty good as far as the jugs and everything were probably all replaced. Just not by... I don't know whoever set the distributor up. Well, I was trying to find a regular 1600 or whatever Beetle engine that had a distributor drive gear already out of it, and I don't. I do have this block is a... It's either going to be a bus engine or a 914 engine. It's very similar. Anyway, this is where distributor drive would be. Here's where the distributor would be kind of set in, same as that Beetle that you saw down there. And then on the bottom of them is what I was talking about. You have like a offset. Distributor can only drop in one way. And then below that is the drive of the gear. Let me get the light up over it. You can see down the center of that, there's a offset also. That is the drive for it. And that's probably maybe 4 inches long total, 3.5. And about 2.5 inches down, there's a gear down below that can go in any way. It has a washer, a thrust washer, right above. I think it's right above the gear. I'm not sure on that. Anyway, if I go to lift that, because what you have to do is you have to be able to take this, lift this up out of here, and rotate it, get it back to its correct location, you know, depending on orientation of the camshaft, to get it facing the right way, to get the rotor facing the right way on that distributor. Well, if you lift up on that and that washer, which can happen, slides out of the place and drops down to the case, you got to take the whole engine apart. So it's not something I really would want to do. Like if you have the engine out, you know, on your engine stand, you can actually flip the engine over and then do it so that, you know, it kind of stays on this piece as you're removing it. And you know, worst case, you can get it out of there by flipping the engine over, but not while it's in the car. And I don't want to take that risk of right now being an issue, but let's just keep that in mind, that that is a problem that is on that engine. Again, right now we're trying to do an assessment of it and get it small stuff taken care of. And thanks to the good old internet, we can just bring up a picture of it. So that's what the whole assembly looks like. We're looking down from the top of it right there. That's what you saw, the offset. And coming down to here, this is where it meshes with the gears, and then there'll be a thrust washer right there. But you have to lift this assembly up to rotate, because you got to get the gears disconnected from each other so that you can rotate this. And you're very close to, I actually think that you actually end up taking this right out of its holding place to get it where the you can get the gears to get this to turn, you know, so that washer will just be sitting on top of there precariously. Yeah, we'll go with that. Anyway, that's the issue. That's why I'm not addressing it right now. Well, I ran around, checked the tire pressures. It's got radials on it. Generally on a bi-supply car, the tire is much lower than what you would think. The front tires would be like 18, the back's like 24. Come up a little bit off of that on a radial. I got the back around 26, 28, and the front around 22, because there's just no weight in the front of the car. Is the reason why that pressure is so low. So, all right, let's go drop her down and fire up. I got plates on it. Yes, I do. I drove it out. Definitely the gas gauge is off because we only have about 3/4 of a gallon in there, and that's an aftermarket gauge that's in there and saying a little under a half a tank. That should probably be an eighth right there. I could probably throw like 10 bucks in it just so we have something to make sure we're not going to run out when we're cruising it a little bit. And 3.5 gallons gave it about another half a tank. Tank's not all that big to begin with. I think it's, I want to say it's 9 and change maybe. Get a little bit of heat in it, let it run for a little bit. It's kind of cruising at 50-ish, which is fine. The front end's a little squirrely. Maybe the alignment's off a little. It kind of darts around left and right. You're trying to hold a straight line. Plenty of power. Definitely has a flat spot though when you go to take off from idle. First gear. You gotta kind of rev it up and get her going a little bit. Right there, just watch, I'll let off, then I'll hit it. Just rattle like down. All right, first gear. That's pretty decent. That's the benefit of having a larger motor in it compared to the stock 40 horse. Just gonna stop it right here. Nobody behind us now. Pop it in first gear. Yeah, it's got like in between gears where you go to shift, it's got a little bit of hesitation. That could be carb and or distributor, combination there of both. Again, I like to have if I had that style carb on there with the vacuum advance, I like to leave it with that setup. I don't know if that being out 90 degrees is causing us any issues or not. It's just something to kind of be aware of. Brake pedal is right to the very top. The brakes actually are functioning quite well. Again, the fact that they're leaking though and the drums are kind of rusty are an issue. People wonder why sometimes I call a brake an emergency brake, because that will definitely stop you in an emergency, because on an early Volkswagen, a lot of early cars, it only has a single circuit brake system, whereas if you lose any hydraulic line, wheel cylinder, master cylinder, anything, any of it fails, you no longer have a second set of brakes that if you push down further on the pedal, that'll work. So that's it. One circuit, any kind of failure that's in it, all your brakes are gone. You have nothing. All modern cars, you have, you know, two setups. Well, your backup for that's why I always call it emergency brake. In case you did lose something, you would pull that emergency brake, which works the rear brakes, and on a Volkswagen, that's a lot of the rear braking, where a lot of cars, it's the front brakes. On a Volkswagen, it's quite a bit more because of the weight's all over the rear axle. So, a lot of like sand rails and stuff, they don't even have front brakes, they just have the rear brakes. We're kind of putting her in fourth gear. It's okay. I wouldn't say it's trying to stay even on the power. I want to see if it like wants to stutter a little bit or not. Seems decent. It seems like the tune is pretty good. Again, I just not that, yeah, right, like right when you let off and you hit it, it gives like a flat spot going to it. But this car probably hasn't been driven. This is probably the first time it's been on the road for, I don't know, 15, 20 years maybe. Trans seems pretty good. Shift's decent. It's quiet, it's running. Runs good. Trans is quiet. Just think it needs a little bit of love on, you know, just maintenance stuff that got taken out over time. You know, those boots were probably new when it was done, and of course now it just sat and they rotted out and they're leaking again. Plus it's also the quality of what you get. I don't need to tell you guys, everything that you get now is just, it's crap and doesn't last very long. The rubber that the thing was made with in Germany compared to the rubber that you get anything else made up today, seems like it you know, you put it out in the sunlight and the thing fails. Where the stuff that originally was in there will probably last you 30 years. The new stuff that you put in there lasts you 3 to 5 years. It's okay. When all the stuff gets made in America again, they'll make better stuff again. Yeah, the car's decent. You know, other than needing some mechanical repairs, it's a great car to start with because the car itself is such good condition. It was not a rock box that was all fixed up again. It was a nice car to begin with. Where did we say it was from? Arizona or something? Maybe that explains the cactus hanging on the side. So we're bogging it. Doing like 35 in fourth gear. I'll floor it. Uphill. Pulls out of it pretty good. A little bit of smell from the heater boxes. Probably just burning off whatever crap is in them. Almost smells like a little bit like a paint. The idea is I want to put about 10 miles on it or so, and I want to go and see if that rear main seal and all that stuff, all the, you know, see what we got dripping underneath it when we get back. I'll leave you on for another minute or two, and then we'll just, you know, we're just kind of cruising around doing 40, 45 mile an hour. Steering wheel's off a little bit. Again, it feels like the alignment's off a little bit because it does want to. It's like a little darty. Kind of like sensitive to turning the wheel. Directionless work. Yeah, a little too fast in a second. did find that other heater tube was in a box under the hood with a bunch of stuff. But it's a little bit of a smell coming from them. I wonder if they possibly took it off to stop that, or they were working on the starter, one of the two, or both. Keto over there. First gear pull. And fourth gear. Nice. Says we're doing, what, 32? Speedometer's a little faster than what we're actually doing. We're kind of waiting on spring. Everything is budding. We don't have leaves out yet. It's almost there, but another week or two. So as I'm driving it, I find something else that's a little bit squirrely, like the wheel shakes a little bit. Steering wheel's not tight. I'm not going to try pulling up on it now, but you can take the steering wheel and she rattles this way. Alright, we're going right back to the shop. I don't know. So you're going to take the wheel off, like right now it's not straight. I wonder if somebody was trying to straighten the steering wheel. Hence why there's no horn button on it. Wait till we go to straightaway. You see it's probably racked one tooth maybe. At least the nut's on there, but it's not tight. You know, it's not gonna fall off, but so right. I think it's off about one tooth. Alright. Let's go. Definitely a good cruiser. It does, like, this would be a car. What's nice about this is it'll do 65 on the highway, try 70 without, you know, overdoing it. You can actually kind of cruise it at that speed, so you can keep up with modern traffic. Some of the cars, you know, the British stuff and everything, like that MG I got, no. You got to stick to roads like this. Even 50 was kind of squirrely with it, but this one, you know, I was cruising at 55 on a 4-lane road, and it's pretty decent. Smell's kind of going away a little bit of the yeah, it's got that hesitation though. Let off the gas, you get back on the gas, and boom, boom, then it goes. Curious to see how it idles when we get back. That's where that vacuum advance comes in too, because you hit the gas and the vacuum will move the timing for you. You have a mechanical advance which just works on whatever RPM you're running at, make it happen faster. Then you have a vacuum advance for that same purpose. It works off the throttle, where the throttle position is and how much of a bog it's got to advance the timing. This doesn't have that, so. Almost springtime. The grass is all kind of coming back. Apologize for the dirty windshield. I probably should clean that first. Let's go. Bring her back up on the lift. Take a peek underneath now that we ran it. I think I put 12 miles on it. Like I started out at 02 and we're at 14, something like that. And it seems like the generator light, alternator light, I thought it was getting better. It was just that it was lighter out. So it's that weird dimming. I have a feeling that might have something to do with ground. Let's go kill it. Yeah, I have a feeling that between a generator and alternator, I want to say there's something different you have to do with the grounding of the bulb or something. I'm trying to remember. Not coming to me. Let's go see how it restarts. Oh, since I pulled in, it was kind of dripping on the floor a little bit. You can see right there. I threw some cardboard underneath. And looks like that area, and possibly a little bit right there. I don't think that's from it. That might have been from when I was trying to put the cardboard underneath for that one. But let's go look and see. Let's go grab a light. All right. So we want that one straight up. It's coming over here. Look, it looks like that boot, because that boot's torn pretty much right through. So again, there's gear oil. This is the transmission. This gear oil goes right through this tube, and of course that knuckle is supposed to help keep it in there, and it's not. So they are going to get changed. That's why that was low on the fluid, kind of be expected. As far as engine oil leakage, we have 2 drips right there. That's kind of, it looks like it's right here. Maybe little push rod tubes. A little bit on that side. I wouldn't think it's the main. Could be. Means a little wet. That remain seal. Kind of keep an eye on that. But for, you know, running it for 20 minutes to a half hour, putting it around, it's not as bad as I would have expected. The oil strainer might be leaking a little bit. Again, the oil has to get changed on, all that kind of stuff. And those push rod tubes, possibly, if they are, maybe we can throw a wrench on them, try to tighten up a little bit. A couple of drips here and there, I would not be that concerned about. It's, you know, when you get a main seal leaking, it's like, it'll dump a quart out in an hour. Or the oil cooler up top leaking, those kind of things. They look pretty decent. Good. Let's go drop it back down the ground. Let's go run it in the sand pit, do a little bit of walk around. A walk and talk. Let's talk about those push rod tubes. That's what they look like. See how they got the little accordions on each side of it, and then when you bolt the cylinder head on, it just kind of compresses on it, and then there's no area for it to leak. And of course, the welded seam, you always kind of face up. I'm pretty happy with it. You know, it's still got a bunch of stuff to get ironed out, but it's pretty close. It does need some work on certain things to get knocked out. You know, I had to idle a little bit on the high side when it warms up, just so on the cold side that it kind of stays running. Again, I'm not crazy about that carb setup and the distributor and all that. That stuff just needs to be ironed out. But having said that, having a car this clean, this original, that doesn't have heater channels put in it, floors put in it, it's all the original stuff. It looked like it was hit really anywhere. The motor's the last part of it as far as trying to get stuff squared away. VW engines, for the most part, are fairly simple. Whether we put you know, a stock 40 horse back in it or repair that one to where it should be, which I think is what's going to be done. Just getting a couple pieces. You know, I would personally, myself, I would get a Solix carb for it. I would get a regular vacuum advanced distributor in it and try to fix that gear, the drive for the distributor, put it in the right place. Color's not the original color, but I do like it. Nice. It's got some looks to it. Hubcaps and everything are still off of it because, again, it still has to get the brakes done on it. It could be driven the way it is. Keep an eye on the brake fluid level. Don't let it go down to where it goes dry, because then it's going to be an issue. And that stuff might even seal up a little bit, but definitely you should order a whole kit and get all that done at the same time. I'll probably do that with him. Everything else seems to be fairly decent. All the lights and everything work on it. Tires are good. They're not dry rotted. Hi guys, well, I'm a little under the weather. My voice keeps kind of cutting in and out, but chasing a cold for 2 weeks, so maybe we'll cut this one short. Still waiting on a new camera I ordered 3 weeks ago, and it keeps getting stalled, getting delivered, going back into 4K, but I'm working on it. The videos are probably going to dance back and forth between the 4K and the 1080 for a little while, because whatever I filmed in 1080, I have to, I think, follow up in that same size. But anyway, too much information. All right guys, with that, I want to sign off. Thank you all for hanging out with me, doing a little bit of wrenching, and bringing old stuff back to life. He may or may not be selling this. He was going to go kind of clean it up to get ready for sale, but I think he's liking it too much and might be holding on to it. So if anybody has an interest, maybe if you want, put in the comments down there, and he can probably contact you directly from them. All right guys, with that, I'll see you later. Yeah, you forgot to remind me. I'll let it go this time. That's a little better. Safety third.